The night she packed her bags, the house felt like it exhaled for the last time. The hallway light flickered, the kind it always did when it rained, and her shadow stretched across the wall like a stranger I no longer recognized. In that moment, I realized how easily love can crack when silence grows louder than truth, and how a misunderstanding can feel heavier than betrayal itself. She believed I was cheating, and nothing I said seemed strong enough to pull her back from that edge. What she didn't know was that every lie she imagined was actually a thread in the surprise I had been quietly weaving for her. A surprise meant to heal old wounds and change our lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of love to survive even its darkest moments, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may be hurting right now. We had been married for 7 years, the kind of marriage that didn't look perfect on social media but felt solid in real life. We lived in a modest house outside of Columbus, Ohio, with creaky wooden floors and a backyard that never quite grew grass evenly. Our love wasn't loud, but it was steady, or at least I thought it was. Over the last year, though, something had shifted. Work had become heavier for me after a promotion I didn't even want but accepted because stability matters when you're building a future. Late nights became normal, weekend errands turned into secretive trips, and my phone buzzed more than it ever had before. I saw the change in her eyes long before she said anything. Trust doesn't shatter all at once, it erodes grain by grain. The truth was I was exhausted in the most hopeful way possible. I had been planning something that took time, money, and secrecy. Her childhood had been hard, filled with foster homes and birthdays forgotten by adults who should have cared. She once told me that surprises made her nervous because they usually ended in disappointment. I wanted to change that. I wanted to give her one moment in life where anticipation ended in pure joy. So I started planning a vow renewal, timed with something even bigger that I hadn't told anyone yet. I worked extra hours, took freelance jobs, met with planners, and coordinated with people who mattered to her. Every text she saw pop up late at night, every unexplained charge, every hushed phone call was a piece of that plan. But from her side, it looked like betrayal dressed up as routine. Suspicion has a way of poisoning even the safest memories. She began pulling away emotionally, becoming quieter at dinner, colder in bed. I noticed but convinced myself it was temporary stress. When she finally confronted me, her voice wasn't angry, it was tired. That hurt more than yelling would have. I denied everything without explaining, believing that secrecy now would pay off later. That was my mistake. I chose surprise over reassurance, and in doing so, I let fear fill the spaces where honesty should have lived. The breaking point came when she found the hotel receipt. It was tucked inside a jacket pocket I rarely wore, from a boutique hotel downtown where I had booked the event space. To her, it was proof. By the time I came home that evening, her mind was already made up. She didn't scream, she didn't cry much either. She moved with the calm efficiency of someone who had already grieved. Watching her fold clothes felt unreal, like observing a slow-motion accident you can't stop. I wanted to explain everything, but the fear of ruining the surprise still held me back. I thought if she just waited a little longer, everything would make sense. I was wrong. After she left, the house became unbearably quiet. The walls that once held laughter now echoed with regret. I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling fan spinning uselessly, wondering how love could slip through your fingers. Even when your intentions are pure. For days, I considered canceling everything. The planner called, vendors emailed, and each notification felt like salt in an open wound. But something in me refused to give up. Love, real love, doesn't retreat at the first sign of disaster. It digs in. I reached out to her sister, the one person she still trusted completely. I didn't reveal everything, but I shared enough to ask for one last chance. A single meeting, a single day. Reluctantly, she agreed to help. It took weeks before my wife agreed to meet me, and even then, it was only because she wanted closure. She thought she was walking into a conversation that would end things cleanly. I was walking into the most important moment of my life. The day arrived cold and clear, the kind of crisp autumn afternoon that feels symbolic whether you want it to or not. I stood outside the hotel, hands shaking, heart pounding, terrified she wouldn't show up. When she finally did, she looked guarded, wrapped in a coat I had given her years ago. That sight alone nearly broke me. I guided her inside without explanation, and with every step I felt the weight of the risk I was taking. When the doors opened to the room I had planned, the silence stretched. The space was filled with soft light, photographs from our life together lining the walls, moments she thought I had forgotten. There were pictures from our courthouse wedding, from road trips, from quiet Sundays at home. In the center was a simple setup, nothing extravagant, just honest and intentional. And then I told her the truth, all of it. Not as an excuse, but as an offering. I told her how fear had made me foolish, how love had made me brave, and how secrecy had nearly cost me everything. She didn't respond right away. Tears came first, then shaking breaths, then something I hadn't seen in weeks, vulnerability. I watched the walls come down slowly, carefully, like someone stepping onto ice they weren't sure would hold. When I revealed the final part of the surprise, the one that explained the extra work, the future planning, the urgency, her hands flew to her mouth. We were expecting a baby. I had wanted to tell her in a way that rewrote her understanding of surprises forever, to tie new vows with new life, to remind her that not all secrets are betrayals. That moment didn't magically fix everything. Trust doesn't rebuild itself in an afternoon, but it cracked the door open. She stayed. We talked more honestly in the weeks that followed than we had in years. We went to counseling, learned how to communicate fear instead of hiding it, and slowly found our way back to each other. Love returned, not as the naive certainty we once had, but as something stronger, forged through pain and forgiveness. As months passed, the house filled with new sounds. Laughter returned, then softer footsteps, then the quiet anticipation of a future we almost lost. Looking back, I understand how close we came to losing everything. Intentions don't matter if they're not shared. Love isn't just about grand gestures, it's about making your partner feel safe even when surprises are involved. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of a moment you almost lost someone you loved, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs reassurance, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. Before this story ends, I have one special request for you. Please comment the word forgiveness if you believe love deserves patience, understanding, and a second chance. In the end, she didn't leave because she stopped loving me. She left because she felt alone in her fear. And she came back not because of the surprise, but because truth finally stepped into the light. Sometimes love survives not because it is perfect, but because two imperfect people choose to fight for it anyway.